Hello you lovely lot, my name is Max, welcome back to my YouTube channel and another Nottingham Forest player profile, where today we're going to be talking about 30-year-old Portuguese international William Carvalho, the Betis man heavily linked to Nottingham Forest over the course of the last 12 hours or so. We're going to be talking about his career up to date as usual, as well as how he's been deployed by Manuel Pellegrini in this very exciting Real Betis team, as well as potentially how Steve Cooper could use him in the Premier League. So before we do that, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, and let's get started with William Carvalho. William Carvalho was born in Luanda, the capital of Angola, and would move to Portugal at a young age, joining the academy of Sporting Club de Portugal in 2005. After spending about 5 or 6 years in the academy system of the club, he would eventually sign his first professional deal, making his debut for the first team in April of 2011 during a 1-1 draw with Vitória. However, his path to the first team was never really guaranteed, and he had to go on a series of loan deals in order to get greater first team experience. The first was to third tier Portuguese side Fatima, and then spending 2 years subsequently on loan with Cercle Bruges in Belgium. Following this pretty successful period though, Carvalho would become a regular in the Sporting first team, making around 200 first team appearances for the Portuguese side and being perennially linked to moves to England, with Arsenal always seeming interested every single summer window, and West Ham also having some interest rebuffed later in his sporting career. However, despite this interest, he would actually stay in Portugal until 2018, eventually leaving for Spain and Real Betis, joining the Seville-based side for around 15 million euros and making nearly 150 appearances in 4 seasons. However, his time in Spain and also his time in Portugal has seen him miss substantial amounts of games due to injury, missing 35 games for Betis in just 4 seasons. Despite this, he's put together some very impressive stats during his time at Betis. He's a very solid defensive presence in that midfield, completing around 3.5 tackles and interceptions per 90 minutes, with his total defensive actions putting him in the top 25% of European midfielders, with him particularly excelling at things like clearances and aerial wins. However, it's in possession where he is absolutely phenomenal, ranking in the top 30% of midfielders for progressive carries and the top 5% for dribbles completed. And in terms of passing the ball, he's one of the best passers in Europe in terms of progression, ranking in the top 5% of European midfielders for progressive passes. These are passes or carries over a distance of 10 yards or more. And when you're a counter-attacking side like Nottingham Forest probably will be in the Premier League, this is very, very important. Someone who can pick the ball up from deep midfield positions and spring you forward on the attack quickly, using an exceptional range of passing and decent ball carrying skills. Overall, he profiles as someone who does a lot defensively for his side and someone who can help us in our counter-attacking system with his excellent range of passing and his excellent ability on the ball. I would definitely be very excited at a potential move for William Carvalho. With that being said though, let's start talking about how he was deployed by Betis under Manuel Pellegrini, particularly in the last 12 months, because I've got to say Betis are a very interesting side to watch. Betis last season were the surprise packages of Spanish football, scoring over 100 goals in all competitions, finishing 5th in La Liga and winning their first Copa del Rey in absolutely yonks. And in order to do this, they played predominantly a 4-2-3-1 system, something that Pellegrini is very, very familiar with. Their defensive two was including William Carvalho, our man who we're looking at in detail today. Now, the width in this team predominantly came from the fullbacks, these getting very high and very wide and very aggressive, looking to be the wide outlet for the team, with the attacking midfielders and the wingers coming into tight half space positions where they can be a little bit more impactful in play. It's also worth knowing the guy playing on the left side of that defence is Alex Moreno, someone who Forest have been quite heavily linked to over the summer window, so this also kind of applies to him if we look to get him. Now, when building out from the back, Betis always have the option of their fullbacks, either Hector Bellerin on the right or Alex Moreno on the left, and they will play in fixed wide positions. This team is very flexible in the positions of their players, but the one place where they're very rigid is their fullbacks. They're always high, they're always wide, and they're always in aggressive positions, looking to receive the ball when building out from the back, and this is pretty much consistent over the course of the season for them. When Betis are in possession of the ball, their fullbacks will maintain as wide a position as possible. We've talked about this in other tactics videos, where the idea of this is to stretch the opposition as much as possible, and this allows the forward 4 players to interchange positionally, occupy pockets of space within the half space and central areas of the pitch, where of course they're going to be a little bit more potent. As well, when they're building out from the back, the central midfielders are also available for short options, especially when the opposition are pressing. Their position positioning is usually very good, including Carvalho, who's very good at adopting sort of midfield central positions to receive the ball. You'll often see one of the central midfielders, which usually isn't Carvalho, occupy a sort of almost auxiliary centre-back position, dropping deep in order to create extra passing triangles to sort of bait in the press from the opposition. And Carvalho will usually occupy a more advanced position in the midfield, able to use that exceptional range of passing to spread the ball forward into more advanced positions for the attackers. Betis, in terms of their defensive shape, are also pretty flexible. They'll sometimes drop into something that sort of resembles a 4-4-2 defensively. We talked about this quite a lot in recent videos, the idea being to compress the pitch as much as possible, both vertically and horizontally, in order to make it more or less impossible for teams to play through the centre. It forces them into wide positions where, of course, they're less and less of a threat. What they can also do is adopt something closer to that 4-2-3-1 that they've played in possession and look to press the opposition quite aggressively. When you look at things like passes per defensive action, a really good metric for determining the intensity of the opposition press, you can see that they usually rank pretty high over the course of the La Liga season, because they're a team who are very comfortable coming out and pressing the opposition when they're circling the ball around from the back, having pretty athletic forwards who are able to get forward, close down space and make it hard for them to be played through. And this flexibility really in their defensive shape is very much down to the opposition they're playing. If you play in a Barcelona or Real Madrid, you might see them playing that 4-4-2. If it's against a weaker team in the league, they may look to press actively and look to win the ball high up the field. In terms of how Carvalho could be used by Nottingham Forest, you can basically see him slotting into either of these two central midfield positions. He can come into deeper positions to receive the ball and look to play us forward, or he can play in more advanced positions where he's probably a bit more of a threat. When you look at his progressive actions, they're usually involving him getting the ball into the final third. And in general, I think he would really complement the midfield options that Nottingham Forest have available to them. If you play him alongside someone like Ryan Yates in the midfield, who's a bit more limited in terms of what he can do on the ball, but is a great athlete, works really, really hard, will do a lot of the defensive work that you wouldn't necessarily need Carvalho to do, you can use that greater range of passing he has to get the ball forward on the counter-attack, especially looking into these channels with like Nico Williams on the right or Toffolo on the left. Overall, I'm quite a fan of the idea of William Carvalho joining Nottingham Forest this summer. Personally, I would prefer it to be on a shorter term deal. I do think at 30 years old, he's probably 2 or 3 years past his peak move to the Premier League that was rumoured all those years ago. He is, though, in the final year of his deal, or going into the final year of his deal, and he's only valued at around £15 million on Transfermarkt, so I think there could be the possibility of bringing someone like that in on a short-term deal like we do with Jesse Lingard. In terms of the grade for this deal, I think I'm going to give it an A-, just like we did for Maxwell Cornet last time out. I think he would probably go in as our best midfielder should he join the club, and would probably not cost too much, seeing as he's going to the final year of his deal. Betis seem pretty keen on selling him, and he's obviously hitting 30 years old. That being said, the age is a bit of an issue for me. I don't want too many old midfielders on good wages at the club, and I would hope the deal would be on a short-term 1 to 2 year basis as we look to solidify our position in the Premier League in this upcoming season. His injury record also isn't the best, and I wouldn't want to be relying on him for 38 games over the course of the season, but I think for 20 to 25 games over the season, someone who's got a lot of experience in top European leagues and in the Champions League, there's probably few better options on the market for Forest for that specific kind of player, so I'm going to give it an A-. Of course, though, let me know in the comment section below what you think of the potential signing of William Carvalho. Let me know your grade in that comment section. And whilst you're down there, drop a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you do not miss a single tactics and transfers video, the player profiles, or the return of the match previews in the next couple of weeks. With that being said, thank you very much for watching, Reds. Enjoy the rest of your week. I will catch you later.